Hey there, vacation dreamers. You've landed on Book Solid, the podcast where two travel advisors share insider tips, top destinations, bucket list activities, and everything you need to know to get the most out of your next vacation. We'll cover what's included, what's not, and throw in plenty of real talk and laughs as we help you plan with confidence. Let's jump in.
Hey there, everyone. Today we are talking all about cruise basics. So, Cruise Basics 101, and we're going to go through some of our top tips for cruising and just kind of basic know-how for your next cruise.
Yep.
Kick it
So
off, Brianna.
Oh, my bad. So I'm going to start off with the basics. It kind of varies based off of your type of cruise that you choose, whether it's Disney, Royal Caribbean, Carnival, whatever. The amount that you pay upfront called your deposit is going to vary. Disney is 10% currently. All the other cruise lines are 20%. So whatever you and your travel agent, such as ourselves or whoever, or if you do it by yourself, you'll see an amount that is due up front. That is your deposit to secure your cruise, that specific stateroom, all of the things. And it's just going to vary based off of whichever cruise line you go with. With that said, then your final deposit, your final payment, whatever is remaining. So let's say your total cruise fare is $5,000 and your deposit is, I don't know, $200. That 4,800 is going to be due either 90 to 120 days before you sail. Again, it varies based off of the cruise line that you choose and the length of your sailing. If it's a shorter sailing, like a 3, 4 night, it's going to be due 90 days in advance. Or if it's a longer, like week-long sailing, then you're going to be looking at 120 days before you sail. It's a lot of information, but that is, I think, something a lot of people don't know
Yeah.
is how it works in terms of like paying for everything.
hmm And you can always make payments along the way, so you don't have to keep that final payment till the very end, as whether you're booking on your own or with a travel advisor, where you always can accept a payment at any time when you're ready.
Exactly. Yeah, you can make any type of payment you want. You can sit there and divide based off of when it's due versus the time you book and calculate how much it is per month. Or you can literally just put down $100 here, $50 here. Like it does not matter. The cruise
Mhm.
lines don't care as long as it's paid before that final date. I definitely suggest not waiting until the final day to make that final payment. I would make sure you have your credit card, all of the things attached. That way, especially if you're working with a travel agent who may run into some hiccups, it happens where we can't process your final payment because of whatever reason. There's a hold on your account because you can only put down, so much on a credit card at once. I've had that happen a lot of times where I tried to make a big purchase towards their vacation and it's immediately flagged and I cannot run the payment. So, making sure ahead of time that your credit cards don't have those like allowance amounts or whatever, and just making sure that you're not waiting until the final day. A lot of cruise lines do have wiggle room, but I wouldn't push it, honestly. It's not worth sacrificing, you know, you losing out on your stateroom.
And I know with Disney too, some of the extra things that you can book, you have to be paid in full to be able to book those.
Yeah.
Um, I'm not sure if it works that same way with other cruise lines, but I know for Disney, there's certain things that before you can make reservations or book them, are they excursions
Yeah,
that you have to be paid in full?
that would make sense. As far as other cruise
Um,
lines that I can't remember off the top of my head. I would want to say it's pretty similar. That just makes sense that you wouldn't be able to book anything if you're not fully paid for it because then
mhm,
let's say, you can't go anymore, you got to cancel the trip, you get your refund back, whatever. But now that person that was also wanting to do that excursion, like let's say like a stingray, like swim stingrays or something, I don't know. They are now out that opportunity to book it and it's
mhm.
just a lot of chaos. So it's just easy because usually by then you've already paid for your cruise at that point anyway. They usually open it up. Again, it varies based off of the cruise line, but especially with Disney, like those very sought after ones are going to be like at the 30-day mark or something right
Mhm.
before the sale. So it just depends.
Along with payments, we highly, highly suggest getting travel insurance. Whether you go ahead and add it right when you book, or if you add it on before that final payment, whether you get it through the cruise line or through a third party, travel insurance is a must for any travel.
Mm.
But I always feel like cruising comes with a little, not, I mean, risks in general, but having that backing and that peace of mind behind you, whether you use it or not, I mean, think of it as medical insurance. We don't always use medical insurance, but we have it there when we need it. So travel insurance is the same. If you need to go to the doctor on the ship, having that travel insurance is going to make that a little less expensive. If you have a medical emergency and then all of a sudden you're in another country, I've heard that's been happening quite often lately, it seems like. And then it also covers any trip delays or trip interruptions, flight delays, any of that too. Travel insurance is just so, so valuable, so important.
I will say it is a non-negotiable for me. Like, of course, I want you guys to protect your trip. There's times that I feel like you don't have to get it, but honestly, it's just not worth, you know, not protecting your trip. But especially during hurricane season, if you're doing like a Caribbean, Bahamas trip, it's a non-negotiable. Like I'm not booking the cruise if you're not going to purchase travel insurance. If you paid attention to social media last year, you would have seen so many cruise lines have to cancel sailings, push them back because there was an active tropical storm, a hurricane. It happens. So it's not worth you sacrificing thousands of dollars that you put into this cruise for Mother Nature to have other ideas. And there's nothing you can do. If you don't buy travel insurance, it is really, 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 really hard to get your money back.
It is really not that much in the grand scheme of things to just cover yourself and your family
Hmm.
for the if you do have to use it, then it pays for itself.
Exactly. They can be pretty affordable. I'm trying to think, like the third party that we work with is super affordable. Even if you work with the cruise line, it's not even $100 or something like that. Like it's really not that expensive. You're not going to be think so like your cruise is like $1,000, a couple $1,000, whatever. Your cruise travel insurance is not going to be hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It's pretty inexpensive. So I would definitely make sure to make that as part of like your final payment. Just kind of know you're going to add another $100, $200 just to protect your cruise. I like
Mhm.
the medical connection though. That I think helps. Okay,
What's your
so
next one?
I'm going to move on kind of like the basics of a ship because understanding what the different parts of the ship mean is very helpful, especially when you get on board and you're trying to figure out where this is, where this is. They have maps. I was just on Royal Caribbean on the Utopia of the Seas, and they have maps on every single deck when you get to like the back of the ship, the front of the ship, middle of the ship. You have to understand like what each term means in order to know where you're supposed to go. Or if you're asking someone, especially someone who works there, they're going to say the forward, the aft, the starboard side. Like you have to understand what that terminology means. So the aft of the ship is the back of the ship, like the very back of it, the very like furthest back you can get. The forward is literally, as you would think, the front of the ship. I know it sounds weird, but it is. Then, so obviously those the front and the back, the middle is called midship. Then from there, if we're looking at it kind of like at a bird's eye view, the port side is the left side of the ship, starboard side is the right side of the ship. If you're sailing on Disney Cruise Line and you're going to Disney's Private Island, Castaway Cay, I always suggest to clients to book a starboard stateroom. That way you can see Castaway Cay. If you do port side, you're still going to have a beautiful view. It's just going to be more so of the ocean. Again, not a bad view. Royal Caribbean and other cruise lines is a lot trickier because especially when we're at Perfect Day at Coco Cay, we oh shoot, I can't remember if we did port side or starboard, but either way, we had an ocean view room. Open up the blinds, we got views of the oasis of the seas. So we got direct views to the ship that was parked right next to us. So it's really hard to know, especially when you do those other sailings, which side to do because you don't know what other ship is going to be traveling at that time, which side they're going to be parking on. Like it just, that's kind of the give or take that you do with other ships. But if you do Castaway Key, starboard side is the best.
I know with Disney Cruise, the carpet in the hallways have medallions or like compasses looking things that will direct you which way you are going.
Hmm.
And I wish I would have known that before sailing, especially on the Wish, because for whatever reason, the Wish is way confusing. I didn't feel as turned around on the Dream, but if you look down on the carpet, they have directions on which way you're going, as well as the maps on the wall
I will
for
say, as
planning.
someone who is directionally challenged, you could tell me something is north, I can be like, okay, that means nothing to me. I like it doesn't matter. I will forget where like how to get from point A to point B, where I am on like especially on Utopia of the Seas, one of the biggest cruise ships there is. It's about to be the like fourth or fifth. It's going to be bumped down when Royal releases their next ship. That's a story for another day. But I would definitely spend your first day, your arrival day, starting to orient yourself with the ship. Start to figure out where your stateroom is. At least with Royal Caribbean, we obviously couldn't immediately go to our stateroom, but we did start walking around, start to figuring out how to get from the elevator to our stateroom, figuring out which direction it is, starting to figure out where to go, like to go eat, figure out how to get there. I would definitely spend that first day kind of learning about the ship, figuring out where all the food is. If there's like a kids club, figure out where that is, how your kids can get from point A to point B. I think it is definitely helpful instead of spending your entire cruise being like, wait, not that it won't happen because I still do it. But that way you're not scrambling to get from, one place to another, especially if you book shows, like different entertainment on the ship and you're waiting around until like 5 minutes before the show to figure out, okay, wait, where am I supposed to be? It kind of helps knowing where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. I haven't done a royal one, but I mean, Disney is big too,
Hmm.
and it takes a little bit to get your bearings
For sure.
um on any cruise ship. So, yeah, taking that time to just kind of explore and getting a feel for it will make the whole trip just easier.
For sure. I will say too, with a lot of the newer ships, now that I've been on the Disney Wish and Utopia of the Seas, a lot of the newer ships have the technology on the elevators that, let's say you need to go to deck 8. When you press deck 8, it's going to tell you which specific elevator to go to. That way, when
Oh.
you get into the elevator, you're not, how kids like to do in Elf, where they light on every single floor. Nobody wants to stop on every single floor. So when you get to like the elevator space, there'll be like a little, kind of like a little iPad essentially, and you'll click whatever deck you need to go to, and it'll tell you, usually there's like six elevators or so, like four to six elevators, and it'll tell you which one to stand at, and it'll take you to that floor. There may be other people that are getting on that same elevator that may need to go to different floors. It just kind of depends who's using that elevator for what.
Mhm.
But that way, I even watched some older ladies on Royal Caribbean just get on an elevator and they're like, wait, what floor are we going to? And so we had to explain, well, you're actually supposed to push which number you want to go to, and then you go to that elevator. So it was a little moment that they had to learn that unfortunately it didn't take them to what
It
deck.
is just where
Thankfully, we
they
walked
wanted to
off.
go.
I think it was like a deck below or above where they needed to go. So they either could have walked up the stairs or down the stairs or just
Okay.
took the correct deck that they needed to go to. But knowing that a lot of the newer ships do have that technology. Again, it also, all the cruise lines are different in how they manage their you know, what you're allowed to do on the ship, what you're allowed to purchase, all that kind of stuff. This goes along with alcohol. So a lot of the different ships allow you to bring alcohol in a small amount. Again, I can't give out numbers because every single cruise line is different in what they allow, what they don't allow. So I would have to, like, if we're working with you to book your next trip, we would have to have a discussion about which specific cruise line does this. So it's going to waste time for us to explain, Disney allows you to do this, but Royal Caribbean does this. So just know that you can bring on alcohol. It's just obviously going to be a small amount. Along with alcohol comes like drink packages. The only cruise line that I'm aware of, and I do work with a lot of the major cruise lines, is Disney does not do drink packages. That kind of sets Disney apart from all the other cruise lines. Not that you can't get drinks on board, it's just a la carte. Now with like Royal Caribbean, Carnival, all the other cruise lines, they do have drink packages. You can do, like I was just on Royal, you can do the alcoholic drink package, or you can do what they call the refreshment package, which is coffees, sodas, mocktails, smoothies, all of the kind of other type of drinks. That's a refreshment package. And then they do, I can't remember the exact name. I think it's like a soda package where you can purchase it's like a cute little reusable cup that you can take home. Um, and you can get soda. They have those little different soda stations throughout the ship, or you can just bring your own reusable cup and just fill it up with water. But know that if you're booking anything but Disney, to factor in the price of a drink package. And again, I can't give out pricing because, again, with Royal Caribbean, and I'm sure the other cruise lines do this as well, it's dynamic pricing, meaning it is going to change every single day. And again, that's a discussion for another day. Um, I can talk more about that, but just know to factor in, you know, I don't know, give or take $100 or more, depending on the type of drink package you want to purchase.
And Disney does have certain offers where you can purchase like a souvenir cup ahead of time and then get discounted refills
Yeah.
for beer
Mhm.
to kind of make it a little less if you don't want to do a la carte every time. And they have their drink of the day, and I'm assume Royal. So can you not a la carte anything on like can you just pay cash for one drink on Royal? You can still do that.
Yeah, you just charge what they call it's your C pass, which is the equivalent of just like your little card that
You're,
has like your information or whatever. You can do that too. Obviously, I didn't because I don't drink really
mhm.
anyway. So we just stuck with the refreshment package and it was perfect.
So yeah, if you're not, if you just kind of do one off, then here or there, then just kind of you can just do it a la carte and not worry about it.
Mm-hmm. So I wish I would have. I don't think I have them in front of me. I don't even think I have my Disney one. I don't even know where it is. But another thing to kind of think about is purchasing some type of lanyard because, again, you're going to be giving your little cruise pass that is kind of like a school ID essentially, or just like an ID that has what ship you're on, your name, where your stateroom is. If you're on Royal Caribbean, again, I'm not sure. I would have to look at it. The other cruise lines. It'll even have what drink package you have. So ours had like, it was not fully written out like a refreshment package. It was some type of like abbreviation, but it lets all the hosts that are at, whatever dining you go to, they'll know exactly what type of package you have instead of looking you up in the system, you know, you know, honor like word of mouth, like what's the word? Like trusting that you're actually telling the truth
Hmm.
and not being like, oh yeah, I have the drink package. No, you don't. But getting some type of lanyard, it's not like a necessity. Like you don't have to have it. You can put it in your wallet or your bag or whatever, and it's fine. But it is nice to have like your little lanyard just on. There will be times where I just unclip it and hand them my Sea Pass on Utopia of the Seas. It was nice to have. But also, like, especially when you're trying to get to your stateroom at night, you're tired, you just want to go to bed. Instead of riffling through your bag or whatever, you just hold it up and boom, scan in.
And so they're kind of like your key card to get
Yeah.
like hotels that you get. Disney, you still get them, but they're moving. Also, you can get what they call a Disney band, which is like a magic band at Disney World, if you're familiar with those. Um, but I would say even those are not a necessity.
Mhm.
For me, I felt like on both cruises that cast members or crew members still are very used to asking for that card
Mhm.
versus the Disney band. So yes, I highly recommend the lanyard as well. And like Brianna said, it doesn't need to be fancy. It doesn't need to be an expensive one by any means. Just something to keep with you so that you have it easy. I was thinking if you have kids, I would get them if they're older kids, it's like on a Disney cruise, if they're older kids, like a preteen, they need their key card to get into the clubs.
Mhm.
So having a lanyard for them as well, that was something that we didn't think about when we went. The littles get a magic band type thing for their kids club, but the teens need their key card and they will get a sticker to put on there that says that they are registered for that club. So we had to buy Evan a lanyard in the gift shop, and we all know gift shop prices.
About the magic bands when you're at the kids club, you do not have to purchase those. They will allow you to borrow them for the length of your sailing. If you choose, like let's say your kid is adamant about keeping the magic band, you can ask the cast members to purchase the magic band and they'll let you keep it for a price. Again, it just kind of depends on what type of, usually they're like 35, 40, $45. It just, again, it kind of depends, but you can keep them if you choose. Just know you're
Mhm.
gonna have to pay for it.
Or you can bring your own. If you already have one from Disney World, that's like the actual like plus version, then you can bring the kiddo can bring that one and that one will work on the ship.
Yep.
So, but yes, make sure to return that if you don't want it charged to your stateroom. I'm gonna shift a little bit because this one I feel is super important, is to fly in early. Flying in early for your cruise is essential. They will leave you.
Yep.
They don't have to wait for you um to get to the ship, and between flight delays, weather delays, um anything can happen. You want to make sure that you're at least close to the city. If you're going out of Port Canaveral, be in Orlando, or Port Canaveral, be in Fort Lauderdale. I understand Fort Lauderdale airport is a lot closer to the port, same with Miami, but just don't risk it.
Not worth it.
It's not worth it. It is absolutely, and I don't care if you get the travel insurance with it. Don't risk not coming in 1, 2 days before if you can. Especially like Brianna said during those hurricane season times. If you're from the Midwest, we have to worry about snowstorms in the winter.
Mhm.
When we were flying in February to get down to Fort Lauderdale, weather was brewing, and people in our cruise group were like chit-chattering, like, well, we came down 2 days before to make sure we were going to get there. And here I'm thinking, oh, we probably should have done 2 days before because you just don't know.
Okay.
Um, and our flight was actually delayed our first way. We were a nonstop. I think we were nonstop. But anyways, our flight was delayed. But thankfully, again, we were coming in the night before, so we were
Yeah.
fine. But yeah, you just don't know. So
Hmm.
I highly, unless you live close enough to where you can drive 2 hours, would probably be my comfort zone
Hmm.
away. Don't risk it. Just don't risk it.
It's not worth it.
Mm-mm. And in that same breath, if you're at a port and you go do something at said port, note the time the boat is leaving to be back on the ship before it leaves.
Okay. Because again, they will leave you there.
They will leave you.
Hmm.
And make sure you have your passport because that's the only way. It'd be a lot harder to leave um, that wherever you're at to get home.
Hmm.
Uh, but come in early and then make sure to get back to the boat early if you leave the ship for any excursions or whatever.
hmm Okay, so next I should have talked about it when I talked about the like directions of the ship, like where everything is. I should have explained type of staterooms. So again, all cruise lines are different in how they name them, the different like room types. Royal Caribbean has, especially if you get on the bigger ships, the different types of staterooms. There's so many different names, but essentially it breaks down to really three main types of staterooms. The cheapest and the smallest are going to be your interior rooms, four walls, no windows, no balcony, nothing. It is the basic room. It's usually going to be somewhere in the middle of the ship, especially on the bigger ships. They'll have like the outer rooms, which are like the ocean view and the balcony. Then sometimes they'll have some rooms in the middle, and then the opposite side will have the ocean and balcony. So obviously, with that said, the next kind of like middle tier is going to be the ocean view. Again, depending on the type of sailing that you do or the type of ship, the size of your windows will be different. Sometimes you'll have multiple windows. Sometimes you'll have like an obstructed view where it's like an inverted window. It just kind of depends, but again, you'll have some type of view of the ocean. Then, of course, your most expensive is going to be the balcony room where you have like your own little balcony out to the ocean. Or again, if you're sailing on Royal Caribbean, for example, you can book a balcony, but it may have views of the boardwalk or Central Park, like the inner part of the ship. It's just little areas that Royal Caribbean has. The boardwalk is like your carousels, your dining spots. Central Park is like greenery and all of that. So you'll have a balcony. It just, you have to be very careful what type of balcony you book. Disney calls them differently. They're still balconies, but they call them verandas. It's the exact same thing.
With Disney interior rooms, they do, some of the ships have what they call magic portholes,
Hmm
where it's a camera essentially to the outside. So you will see in real time what is happening.
Yes.
And then, but the magic comes in when characters come across the screen, for lack of a better term there. So that's kind of fun if you want, you're still looking for like a budget room, but not all ships have that. So kind of keeping that in mind. The other thing with rooms, I feel like, is there's two different ways to choose a room. You can choose your own room,
Mhm.
or you can book what they call a guaranteed room, where the cruise company will pick that room for you. Now, the guaranteed rooms are typically cheaper. You're going to find a decent, sometimes get a pretty decent rate. Like Disney has some amazing deals right now
Mhm.
going on for guaranteed rooms for this fall. So if you want a choice, making sure that you are choosing a room that is not a guaranteed room.
Yeah.
My one was something to make sure you pack is Dramamine, or like a motion sickness patch. Even if you don't use it, you, unless you've cruised before, I don't think you really know. And even if you have cruised before, the waters might be different
hmm
depending on the time of year. Um, the patches seem to work well for us. In February, we had some really rough waters. They sell some Dramamine in the gift shop, but um, I would say it's not, you're going to pay, again, gift shop pricing
Yeah.
for it.
I definitely recommend it for sure.
In your pack of medical supplies with Tylenol,
All the things.
Band-Aids,
Yes, I'm definitely an overpacker, but it's fine.
it'd rather be an overpacker and have what you need than be an underpacker and then be looking for things.
Hmm
So
Amanda and I hope you learned a lot from us discussing Cruising 101, basically the cruise basics, everything you know when you're going on a cruise. If you do have any lingering questions, definitely leave them in the comments and we will definitely answer them for you. If you're looking to cruise, we would absolutely love to help you do so, but we will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
That's it for this episode, Vacation Dreamers. We hope you picked up some tips, ideas, and a little extra magic for your next adventure. If you enjoyed hanging out with us, be sure to follow or subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also find us on Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts for even more travel tips and updates. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep planning, and we'll see you real soon.